Hey, hi everyone. We are back for week 8. I am doing more of these video lectures and I hope you are enjoying them because I think it's a nice way to just kind of re-emphasize what you're reading in the chapter and hopefully bring some real-time, real-life conversations around some of the topics that we're reading about. So this week we are reading chapter 7, which is called Applying the Marketing Mix. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my textbook here. It starts with an overview of the 4 P's of marketing. You will remember we learned earlier this year about the 4 P's of marketing. They are product, place, price, promotion. And those 4 P's are very focused on the marketing side of this interaction that we have with customers. The 4 C's, on the other hand, are very related to the customer's perspective. So instead of product, price, place, and promotion, the 4 C's are customer benefits, convenience, communication, and cost. So they're all focused on the customer from the customer's perspective instead of the P's that are from the marketing perspective. So let's talk about a couple of these just to kind of bring it home for you. You will read in this chapter the relationship between product and customer benefits. And the chapter actually phrases it, products affect customer benefits. I might actually pose that we think about it in the opposite scenario, which is customer benefits or customers' needs should always influence the product that you develop and the product that you are marketing. We can't make a product, sell a product if no one needs it, right? So it's an interesting perspective. The product is from the business perspective. The customer need or the customer benefit is from the customer perspective. So those two things are related. Convenience for customers is related to place from a marketing perspective. We need products to be as convenient as possible for our customers to want to buy them, right? You can think about this scenario in terms of purchasing clothing nowadays. I know this, probably all of you know this. You buy things and you buy things one size above, one size below, maybe 2 color variations. You keep what you like and you return what you don't like, right? It's kind of a new way for us to conveniently have in our place what we are interested in purchasing. So from a marketer's perspective, it's bringing the place to your home, especially during the pandemic now more than ever. It's important that the place is convenient for you. And then convenience from a customer perspective is, I can't go to a store always, especially throughout the pandemic. I haven't been able to shop at retail stores whenever I want. So I have to have that ability to be able to look at things conveniently in my own home. So the place has suddenly become our own home. So place from a marketer's perspective and convenience is really important and tied together if we're thinking about 4 P's and 4 C's. Cost and price are obviously very related. From a customer's perspective, I am thinking about cost if I'm a customer. From a marketer's perspective, I'm thinking about price. How can I provide enough value to you through the product that you're willing to pay the price that I set on a product? Something else to think about when you're thinking about price and price strategy is the price that you put on the product isn't always the end price the customer will pay, not just in terms of retail and wholesale, but also in terms of additional add-ons that you need to enjoy the product. You can think about that in simple terms, like if I go to the store and I buy a pack of hot dogs, that's not my final price that I will pay to enjoy the hot dogs with my family, right? I'm also going to need buns, I might need ketchup and mustard, relish, so there's additional prices that I have to consider as a marketer when I'm selling something like hot dogs. The same can be said for like a game console, and it gets a little more complicated, right? If I am interested in selling an Xbox, I have to now think about what customers will have to pay to enjoy the product. They can't just buy the Xbox. They have to have the cords that connect the Xbox to their internet. They have to have the controllers to enjoy the game. They might need more than one controller if they're gonna play with friends, which is a part of playing games, right? So when considering price from a marketer's perspective or cost from a consumer's perspective, we also have to think about the holistic cost to enjoy the product. So just some added thoughts when thinking about those P's and C's. And then the last one is promotion and communication. So promotion is a form of communication, but Communication is two-way. Promotion is often one way. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that component of marketing in this chapter. But you can think about your own personal relationships, right? You probably have a better relationship with someone who you communicate with more often, not necessarily someone you just talk at, right? You need to talk with and have conversations with your customers so that you're getting feedback. It's that two-way element. Promotion can feel one way, communication feels two-way. So you're needing feedback from customers in order to provide better promotions, provide relevant, meaningful marketing. You need to hear from customers. So it's taking the 4 Ps, product, price, place, promotion, and turning them into customer-centric perspective, which are the 4 Cs: convenience, cost, communication, and customer benefit. It's taking them and looking at them from a customer's perspective, essentially. So that's part 1 of the chapter. I think you'll enjoy reading that. And then part 2 of chapter 7 was one of my favorite chapters in the book, actually. It's talking about how to make current marketing practices, how current marketing practices affect marketing decisions. So it's basically a deep dive into the stuff we've learned so far in the book and how it's relevant in terms of current marketing trends. The reason I love this, the reason it's been my favorite part of the book so far, is because I think that's what you need to know. If you are working, I think all of you have mentioned to me or mentioned in a post that you have a job currently or have had recent work experience. If you are working in today's environment, it's super important that you understand what the current marketing trends are. It's great for us to talk about the 4 Ps and the 4 Cs, but in your day-to-day life, you will not talk about the 4 Ps. You will integrate them into things that you're doing. It will become kind of a base for future learnings for you. But what's cool about this chapter is it talks about very relevant and timely current marketing trends that are interesting to you. You probably participate in a lot of these marketing trends on your own in your personal life, but to get you to think about them from your work perspective is really cool and interesting. So I'm going to talk about a couple of them. Experiential marketing is fun to think about. We do a lot of this at Visit California in my other job. It's all about bringing an experience to a customer. It's no longer about reading an advertisement on a billboard. Looking at an ad, even on Facebook, can just feel kind of mundane at this point. But you will remember an experience that is created and crafted specifically for you. So I read about one good example of experiential marketing in the event space. So many of you have probably been to an event or worked at an event that was related to marketing in some way. If you think about going to an event, showing up, there's a bar there and people are drinking cocktails and there are some social media influencers there. That's cool. You walk further into the event and there's a fashion designer there who's got her clothing on display. Also really cool. And maybe in the background, as part of kind of the ambiance of the event, they have some movies playing. Also cool, right? Sounds like a great event. Here's how you make that event experiential, right? Here's how you take it to the next level and create an experience that's memorable and specific to the customers that are walking into the event. Maybe those influencers, instead of just being at the bar to take photos with, maybe they take a class with the customers who walk in the door. So I walk in, I'm a customer, I meet a social media influencer. Not only do I get to take a photo with them, but I also learn to make a cocktail with them. And so we take a little course together, we spend 5-10 minutes together, make a drink, and share an experience. Now, not only have I met someone cool, I've done something cool with them and it's personal, just for me, just for that person. And maybe the fashion designers that you saw as you came into the event are not just hanging up their clothing, they are handing you a paintbrush and they are saying, you know what, we're going to splatter paint all over these clothes and whatever you design is for you to take home. So maybe we together kind of splatter paint this really cool shirt and I get to take the shirt home at the end of the day. This is my like party gift. There is an experience. I will not forget how I felt being surprised by getting to do this and then actually doing it and getting something to take home. Then the last component was the videos playing in the background. Maybe they use technology to take an image of me, my face, and put it on some of the characters in the video. So I'm watching some James Bond movie, but I am James Bond. I am in the movie and I am in this action and making cool moves on TV that I would never do in real life, but it's me. It's my face on the characters in the movie. That is memorable for me. It's going to grab my attention. It's me in the video, so it's an experience I won't forget. That's how you take something kind of mundane, still very cool, but a little bit ordinary, and make it into an experience for a customer. Now, those are kind of outlandish examples. Some more realistic, more tangible examples might be if you walk into a candy store in Old Town Sacramento and the owner of the store, the worker at the store, gives you a sample of the candy. You're right away greeted with something a little bit extraordinary, right? A little bit special, a little bit of an experience. Maybe they have it on a nice tray, a beautiful silver tray, and they've got fun elements that you can pick from, fun different types of candy. Or maybe they have initials in the candy. You can pick your own initialed candy. That's taking something maybe ordinary, making it a little bit more memorable, a little bit more personal, and turning it into experiential marketing. So you'll read more about that in the chapter. It's cool. It's taking an element of marketing and making it special and turning it into something memorable, much like you remember any sort of experience in your life. So I think you'll enjoy reading about that. Let me keep cruising here. I've got a couple notes for you. It also talks about in this chapter brand communities, which is kind of cool. I know all of you belong to a brand community, whether you recognize it or not. A brand community, according to the book, is the bond among a customer base based on common brand purchases, consumption, or desire. Sounds kind of clunky, but what it means is there a brand you really feel strongly about? For example, in the book, they used Jeep Wrangler. There's like a community of Jeep owners. Another example is Harley Davidson, right? There's a community of Harley Davidson owners that is very special and very tight and close-knit. An example from my own life is Peloton. I ride a Peloton bike, and you've probably seen the Peloton marketing campaigns on TV or on social media. It's a stationary exercise bike that has grown in momentum based on its brand community. There are avid Peloton riders who are quite passionate about it. They wouldn't ride another type of bike. They wouldn't buy another type of bike. It's kind of a clique, a community of people. Disney is another example. If you went to the extra credit course, we had the president of Disneyland there, and many people in the audience were avid Disney fans, right? They are a brand community, a community around Disney. It's like a breed of people, right? Like if you're a Disney person, you breathe it, you eat it, you sleep it. You are a Disney fan, number one, and forever and always. Universal would never, mean as much to you as Disney, and you're a true believer in the brand. So this brand community is strong and can mean a lot. You can even think about it like Nike, right? We elect to wear marketing components for Nike as a company. I will wear something that has a check mark on it proudly, and it's quality product, and I feel and believe a lot in the Nike brand. And so that's also part of a brand community, right? It's taking the brand itself, the marketing itself, and incorporating it, being willing to incorporate it into your own personal life, into things you believe. That's a brand community, and it's very common these days and kind of a cool marketing trend to think about. The last one I will touch on is co-creation. I'm sure you've all heard the word influencer, a social media influencer, someone who's popular, who's got a strong following on social media channel of some kind, can often help co-create brand marketing. We do it at Visit California in the travel space. You will often see this. You also see it in the product space a lot. I follow people who unpackage makeup products, and I'm watching with as if I'm opening, as if it's Christmas Day and I'm opening that product myself. I'm watching them unpackage this thing and watching them sample it and put it on their face, and so interested in how the product feels and looks. And those influencers are creating marketing material for the company. They are co-creating material that can be used by the company. Influencers co-create a lot. Co-creation can also be a survey of customers. If you're getting responses from customers on what works about the product, and then you're making changes based on that response from customers, that's co-creation of some sort. And then crowdsourcing is another example of co-creation. Crowdsourcing is essentially surveying in mass a group of people and getting their input, and then taking that input and changing your product or service based on that crowdsourced input. The last thing I will mention in this chapter, because I'm getting long-winded here, is gamification. What a cool marketing initiative that's popped up over the last 10 years. Gamification is a cool word for turning marketing promotions into games of some sort. And we've probably all been a part of them. In fact, if you have any app on your phone that tracks your progress, so I have book club apps. I belong to the Reese Witherspoon book club, and she has a little component of her app that tells you how many books of hers you have read. Or the Peloton app will tell me how many days I've ridden the bike. It'll show me when I'm on a 3-week streak. It'll give me a button or a badge, or it'll throw confetti in the app, and I'll feel like, wow, I did 3 weeks of Peloton rides, and it'll make me excited, and I won't want to break the streak. Those are all forms of gamification, right? They're an element of game that brings to life some excitement for you, and essentially is marketing to you and getting you to continue to love that product. Kind of a tried and true gamification is a rewards card. So like a Bel Air rewards card. I have a Bel Air that's right close to my house, or a Safeway membership rewards card, right? That is a form of gamification too, and it's been around for quite a while. It's a bonus. It's a prize if you shop there a lot, right? The more you use the card, the more prizes you get, the more discounts that you get. So it's just a form of giving you rewards, a system of rewards and games to convince you to continue to love and use their product or their service. I'm actually going to put below the video a cool short YouTube video link of some gamification examples, because those are cool, and I think many of you will like them. Some of you have said you're just interested in creativity in general. This is such a cool creative element of marketing. It's new, it's technology based. We have some companies who work in gamification in the Bay Area, just not far away from us at all. And what an interesting career path to think about. So I'm going to put a video for you to see more about gamification below here. But also today, we're going to hear from another realtor. And I'm sorry we're doing 2 realtors in a row. I'm not sorry, but I'm doing it on purpose because there are so many of you that are interested in real estate, becoming a realtor one day, working in the real estate field, that I actually got 2 realtor interviews. So today we're going to hear from Kellie Swayne. She's a 3rd-generation realtor. So her parents and her grandparents were also realtors. She is the current president of the Sacramento Realtors Association. So we heard from Erin Stumpf. She's the president-elect, so she will be the next president. We are now going to hear from the current president. So what's cool about this is she's giving you some really interesting examples of how those in the real estate market are using some of these current marketing trends. So she'll talk she'll talk about videos, the importance of videos, and kind of a gamification element, which is 3D tours. So it's very experiential, which we're talking about in this chapter, giving the home buyer the experience of walking through the home without actually having to book an appointment, drive to the home. Videos, giving the buyer the experience of what the community feels like, not just the home, but maybe an aerial shot of the home. Maybe the drone footage can give you a feel for the land that you will get with the home, or the neighborhood you will be in when you purchase the home. The proximity to the park, proximity to the library, the grocery store, the nearest elementary school. All those things. She talks about the importance of video, 3D tours, just some very relevant current marketing trends that I thought would align really nicely with this chapter. So let's hear a little bit more from Kellie Swayne. And as always, you guys know, reach out to me. I have office hours on Thursday, 4 to 5. You've got my email, you've got phone number to reach me at. Shoot me a note if you have any questions or want some career advice. I'm happy to have you in class. But let's take a listen from Kellie Swayne. She's current president of the Sacramento Realtors Association, 3rd-generation realtor. She's got some really good advice for you. If you're interested in marketing, real estate, you're gonna love this interview. So let's take a look.
I started in this industry well before I was licensed. I'm actually a 3rd-generation realtor.
Okay.
I'm lucky to come from a family who's been doing this. My grandmother got her real estate license in 1969. She was the broker of our office for a very long time. I work with both my parents, who now own and manage the office that I'm in now. So third generation realtor, all Sacramentans, and we just work for a small company there. So been doing this a long time. In coming back from living out of town after college and some additional time beyond that, came home and had to make the decision to either continue with my education or give the family business a try. And so I obtained my real estate license at the end of 2005 and started selling real estate full time at the beginning of 2006. I very quickly, and I think part of this is just a personality thing maybe, but I jumped right into the volunteer side of things at the Sacramento Association of Realtors. And frankly, I think I've gotten a lot more out of it than even that I've put in. So I started volunteering right away. I served on some of my first committees in 2007, was chairing committees by 2008, and here I am in 2021, honored to be serving as the president of that association. We're about 7,500 members or so, and really at that point, you're a little bit of just the figurehead, so to speak, and really the greatness of that association comes from our big group of volunteer leaders that we work with. They're the ones who make it work, as does our staff. So
Awesome. 7,500 members. It's a good sized organization.
yes, we are. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to come to some of our questions that I sent you. So, can you tell us what some of the most common marketing practices are for realtors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people will see, a lot of social media right now is big. People will post. They'll have their own business pages, and will post information on social media. Certainly, you'll still see print advertising, mostly now in the form of magazines. When I started in real estate more than 15 years ago, newspaper were still very much a part of the marketing, the regular marketing that realtors were doing, and not so much anymore. I mean, some places you might see that, but here in Sacramento, you'll still see some print marketing, but mostly it's local publications that you will see print media. A lot of video. So people are getting into video and blogging. Those are other ways that marketing is happening. And then when it comes to things like a listing, we'll see things like it's called a Matterport. It's a 3D video tour that people are getting into, and then getting creative with different ways to market using that 3D video tour. Of course, websites are important. Figuring out how to be in touch with your clients, whether it be through old-fashioned U.S. Postal Service, that's definitely still happening too.
Yeah, you know what? Just talking with friends in anticipation of our call, we all kind of jokingly said it's like realtors are the last people who will still leave something on your door. Like they will still drop off or have someone drop something off even in person, right? Like even I don't know what the term for that is, but even like dropping off flyers is still kind of common, or maybe we've seen a little bit of an uptick in the pandemic even, I don't know.
Yeah, Amber, you're right about that. Part of that is, and I harken back to my grandmother. The basics don't change, right? That personal touch is so important, and now more than ever. Obviously, we need to be a little bit more cautious on those personal touches these days. But I think it's really hard to understate, or it's hard to overstate maybe the importance of that personal touch.
Mm-hmm. That's a good segue into one question I wanted to ask you, which is, what has changed in the pandemic in terms of marketing? I'm sure a lot has changed, but anything specific that comes to mind in terms of marketing, especially?
Definitely more video. The way that we present our listings, our sellers' homes to the public, we've had to get better with that. Like I said, that 3D video tour is really a necessity anymore these days. With COVID, it allows buyers to get into a home and physically view it without actually being there, right? So I think that's really been important. And one thing that I've learned too, again, we just talked about personal touch, but I've certainly found myself stepping up in that one-on-one contact with my clients, giving somebody a call and just asking how they're doing, sending them a text message, just asking how they're doing. It goes so far to help them know that I'm not here just to sell their home or help them buy a home, but I want to be a resource for them personally too. So I think marketing for me has changed a little bit that way, and welcome so. It's a wonderful way to be in touch with my community.
Was there a period of time where you couldn't do in-person showings? Is that still happening today? I don't know as much about that field.
That's a great question. There was a very short time in March of last year when real estate was not classified as an essential service here. And so it took some work on behalf of our associations, who are our biggest advocates, to get real estate and housing classified as an essential service. Once that happened, we did shift into we were able to do in-person showings, but with certain restrictions, right? Everybody's wearing a mask. We all have to sign a statement before entering a home, ideally signing it electronically, that states that we don't have COVID symptoms, and we're not knowingly exposed to anybody. So we're not bringing those risks, at least as much as we can control, into somebody else's home. Hand sanitizer, you name it. So lots of restrictions. We are still restricted from doing a traditional open house. Unfortunately, not everybody gets that message. But that is still on restriction. We should not be doing sort of the traditional drive up and show up and walk into a home. We can certainly do them by appointment, which is a pivot that we have all made in our industry, at least those of us who are paying attention to the regulations that are meant to keep us all safe.
Yeah. So can you tell us some of the things, and it's interesting to hear that this is third generation for you, so maybe even some things your parents or grandparents have done in terms of marketing that are creative or outside of the box? I'm throwing a kind of an odd question at you, so if you want to come back to it, we can, but just wondering what you do differently than other realtors to help you or your company stand out.
Our office will send any new listing. We do a radius search for the 100 nearest homes, and we'll make sure that those neighbors know that there is a home on the market in their neighborhood. So we will mail them a postcard. And I can't say that that's different, but I think it's critical for people to understand that those buyer sources don't just come from some other agent bringing them in. Sometimes it's a surprise buyer in the neighborhood who wants to move up, wants to move down. They have a family member who wants to come into the neighborhood. So I think it's important and critical that you keep the neighbors actually well informed of a new home coming on the market. As far as getting additionally creative, I think it's important that we're paying attention to trends. Targeted marketing on social media is certainly a really great opportunity for a creative way to make sure you're getting in front of the right audience. And I think it's something that probably shouldn't be missed by, realtors engaging in thoughtful marketing today.
Great. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Let's see. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about the videos. When you are, or when realtors are creating videos, I assume that's mostly about the homes. Are there any other types of videos that you've created or others have created that you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, get out and introduce your community, right? Create a video to introduce your community. I mean, real estate is so hyper local. Understanding the nuances of the neighborhoods and the amenities that each neighborhood offers. I've seen, and we've put together, plenty of videos that talk about that community. It doesn't have to be focused just on a home or even on one realtor, right? I mean, we are meant to be resources for our community. That's where we shine the most. And the realtors who are the most successful, they are a resource for their community. And so get out and use video to introduce it. I mean, drone photography it's an amazing tool to take advantage of. So those are all ways to really, sharpen your tools, so to speak.
Great. That's really helpful. How about, have you seen any home buying trends recently that have impacted your marketing?
Oh, without a doubt. One of the silver linings that has come out of this pandemic is the value of home, right? I mean, so many people are finding these four walls that surround them now almost day in and day out to be such a more important place to make their own and to look for those qualities that make it a more comfortable place to be all day, right? So the value now of that yard space, the value of that extra nook for a home office space, those are things that I'm definitely pointing out in my marketing right now. We have to pay attention to buyers' needs, and those things are definitely high in demand right now.
Great. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to ask you is, I think I explained to you that I've got quite a few students in the class that are really interested in either being a realtor or exploring that field in some capacity. Do you have any advice for those students? Anything you'd recommend that they do over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'm going to say, I think, in fact, the funny thing about this question and this interview right now is I got a phone call from a 22-year-old son of a client last week, and he's thinking about getting into real estate. And what was my advice to him? And the first thing I said is, getting your license and getting into real estate, if you're going to do it right, is not an inexpensive venture. And the turnaround on a paycheck can sometimes be a little bit of a long time. So it's not something to dip your toes in. There's not a lot of great opportunities to do it that way. However, the Sacramento Association of Realtors and the Los Rios Community College District has a really great program and partnership in an internship that we have together. So if someone's interested in learning about real estate, considering it as a career, get into that internship program with the Sacramento Association of Realtors through Los Rios and understand what that's like. You will spend, I think we're at 8 or 10 hours a week with a realtor member as your mentor, showing you exactly what we do day in and day out, and for a full semester. So I can't think of a more cost-effective way to get a picture of what it's like to do this job, and not have that sort of high cost buy-in, so to speak.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. And thank you for your time. Anything else you would add, knowing we're working with a group of marketing students, many interested in real estate or realtor work? Anything else you want to add?
Being a realtor is a highly rewarding career. It can certainly be something that you make a solid living doing. Understanding how to market yourself and understanding how to earn the respect and the trust of the public to help help them through that big transaction is key. And so bringing marketing skills into a career like this, it would be an invaluable tool for you to put into practice and have a really good career.
Awesome. All right. Well, maybe we'll close there. I appreciate your time today. I think the students are really going to be excited to hear from you. So great advice, really good insights, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Amber. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.